And now it's time for another edition of What Would Jello Do? And I'm coming to you a few days after what went down in Charlottesville, Virginia, where the current singer for GWAR was a college professor at UVA until very recently. I'm as freaked out as the next person, especially because now those same neo-Nazis, and I'm not going to call them alt-right and fall for that, that's like saying religious liberty, pro-life, no. Alt-right, okay. Nazis, racists, fascists, and they're coming to my town. Less than 10 days from now, Crissy Field, they're coming to my town. Supposedly the really nasty ones being flown in because they have so much money now. Maybe some of it came from Trump or his buddies, who knows. And then the next day, they want to do it in Berkeley too, specifically to promote a counter demonstration where they can get violent as hell and then blame the other side for impinging on their freedom of speech. So far, the prank against the one at Crissy Field in San Francisco, supposedly dog walkers and people with dogs are organizing to walk all their dogs, let them run on Crissy Field and take dog poo-poo and then not clean up the dog poo-poo. That at least is a start. But what I'm coming to you at today, and I've already been warned by two very close friends, a lot of people are going to be mad at me about this, but I have to say this for the long term and see the forest in addition to the trees. Non-violence as much as humanly possible. Because they're trying to draw us in to get violent so they can get way more violent on us at the same time that they're saying, oh, we're boo-hoo, they beat us up, blah, 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 and that gets all over the news. I too think it's pretty damn cool. Yeah, beat them Nazis. I'd like to slug them and beat the crap out of them too. Just like when I was at the Seattle protests in '99, just stuck the crowd, wouldn't move because there's so many people. Crash. Somebody threw a newspaper machine through the window of Starbucks. Cool. I love the sound of breaking glass, and I'll take the Fifth Amendment as far as my own history in that regard way back when. But then I kind of knew what was going to happen, and it did. The Seattle protests turned from nonviolent march involving everybody from the Teamsters to the SEIU to the Pilots Union, Nurses Union, all marching against the WTO. All of a sudden, CNN on down had the excuse to spin the whole Seattle protests into anarchist riot. This is what we don't want. Corporate media loves to spin anything into anarchist riot, even if it means making organized neo-Nazis who've been hoping to start a race war with something like this clear back to Beer Hall Putsch or Manson killing people, and gee, thanks Tarantino for making a Manson movie for next year. Don't get me started on that. But anyway, we have to think long-term tactics here. I agree that when those people show up with shields and clubs wanting to bash us, defense is okay. This is defense against getting beat up by fascists. This makes us the fascists. And on top of that, you don't want to hit somebody and then suddenly it hits them in the temple and you've got a big old prison sentence on your hands. Plus, you gotta bet that, my public defender punk rock lawyer friend reiterated this to me, that a lot of those neo-Nazis are ex-cons who in all likelihood are handy with a knife, have seen somebody get beaten within an inch of their life or killed, and they're fit and they know how to fight. And some of these people are ex-soldiers. Just wait till the so-called oath keepers, who are current soldiers and cops among others, jump in and join on their side. In other words, you brandish a weapon and somebody else who knows how to fight better than you sees that weapon, they not only have an excuse to kick your ass and claim self-defense, but on top of that, what if they get the weapon away from you? then they've got it, and they can do whatever they want with it, can claim it was self-defense. They can do, it's just one more good reason not to carry a gun, which that guy who one day was saying, yeah, people are going to die, and oh, Trump gave his daughter away to Jews, I'm not going to mention his name, then the next day is supposedly crying because he's about to get arrested, and I don't think he was crying, he was sniffling because perhaps, based on his behavior and the way he talked both days about this, that, the drugs were wearing off. But the most interesting thing about that Vice video was when he talks about pulling his pistol. That's another thing we got to watch, is that people go down there to beat up on Nazis. What if they've got a gun and know how to use it and can get away with claiming self-defense? This is not what we want. We don't want to escalate this and give them more and more free publicity and recruiting tools. As much as possible, we want to de-escalate it. Self-defense, helmets, maybe even shoulder pads, something for you. Yeah, I get that. I've been in some of these things myself, but not a fight with Nazis, but other demos where I'm glad I had some stuff and to keep the pepper spray from coming in. But basically, the other thing to watch for is black bloc. Well, again, I like the sound of breaking glass. Somebody's got to do this stuff. Once this goes on, come on, mask. I'm not as experienced at this as some people. I haven't put this on for years. All right, now that I got this on, who am I really? Do you know me? Do you know who I am? There have been documented cases like the G8 or whatever it was, protests in Geneva in Italy, where the black bloc trying to start all the violence, and that was a violent protest, turned out to be undercover cops. What happens if now some of the people with these on, people you don't know, people never met, what if they aren't just undercover cops, but undercover Nazis? I mean, if people start doing this and want to do this when it's our side starting the fight, stop them. You know, grip around and just stop them. No violence, no violence, no violence. It does de-escalate violence. And still can't forget, when I was running around LA during the protests of the 2000 Democratic Convention, black guy recognized me, started chatting me up as we were walking downtown, and urged me, yeah, wouldn't it be great to break that window? And I was like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But I realized, wait a minute, that's a small business. What do you want to break that for? No, we got to do it. We got to do it, man. You know, and he was starting to tell me I was a sellout because I didn't want to break a window. And the more I looked in his eyes, the more I realized that guy was at least 40 years old. Sure, he may be a radical veteran of the trenches, or trying to get Jello to break a window like that so you can then pull your badge out and arrest somebody. All I'm saying is I feel the urge to want to beat the crap out of those Nazis too. We have to be smarter than that, keep our heads, and not let those people or undercover cops wreck our side of the story. And we got to be conscious of how any last thing we instigate is going to play out in corporate McNews. We got to be smart and be above this stuff.